I'm Gemma. I'm 24 years old. I'm from Montefiore in Scotland and I'm a wheelchair rugby player. I was born with a disability called cerebral palsy, and this affects all four of my limbs, so my arms and my leg, and also my coordination. I've always been involved in sports since a young age. In the beginning, it was more from a therapy side of things, so I did swimming and horse riding as it was told to be a good therapy for me. And then in 2013, I started playing wheelchair basketball, but due to the nature of my disability and some of the sort of skills that are required for wheelchair basketball, I struggled to play the sport. So then wheelchair rugby was recommended to me because wheelchair rugby is a sport that's designed for people who have impairment in 3 out of 4 limbs, and it's got very similar skills to wheelchair basketball. So I started rugby in 2016 and I've been loving it ever since. So wheelchair rugby is a mixed gender sport, so this means that I compete alongside and against male players. Obviously this is sometimes a challenge, but I like being able to sort of challenge myself against males, and I love how tactical the sport is and how everyone, no matter what their impairment level, has a role to play within the sport. I also think it's full contact and it really helps to defy the stereotypes around disability. So sometimes people think when they have a disability you've got to be wrapped up in cotton wool, whereas wheelchair rugby, you're full on hitting each other, and it really challenges people's perceptions around disability. Hopefully in the future we'll have more female players involved. What clean sport means to me is it just means natural performance. I think it just means making sure that your performance and what you're doing is 100% you and 100% natural, and it's through your own hard work rather than sort of performance enhancing drugs or any other sort of format. The biggest threat in terms of clean sport and integrity, I think there's lots of different challenges. One of the challenges is probably around classification. I think at the moment wheelchair rugby is a very clean sport. Everyone works really hard and we all understand sort of the importance of integrity and making sure that we're natural athletes. I think to continue this work, it will just be to create more education around lots of different things in terms of integrity, so not just doping but classification and other aspects, to make sure that athletes are aware of what is sort of needed to be done but also aware of the consequences as well. And I know that this is happening, but I think it could be done sort of within lower levels of wheelchair rugby, so that as people progress they're more aware of sort of the situation and what's going on. Eventually my end goal would definitely be to go to Paralympics, whether that's in Paris or Los Angeles. Hopefully competed on the world stage, so I want to be at the top level within wheelchair rugby. I also want to have completed a PhD by then and potentially become a lecturer and help to educate people around disability and inclusion and the importance of disability sport.